Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Signals and Symptom Podcast. Today, we're going to have a special episode, and I'm too excited about it. And my good friend, Harvey Castro, which is generally a co host, we're going to treat him as a guest today. And the reason behind it is that I really want to learn this very important topic, which is essentially healthcare digital twins, how you go from concept to clinical reality. And given his experience internationally, we have a better outcome, or at least see physically where things are going to be in the next year or so, as compared to here in US, where there's a lot of issues with data silos, etc. And more importantly, how important it is. So we're going to work on this. As usual, we're going to go ahead and give you some updates from the last 2 weeks. I apologize. Last week I was actually feeling sick. I was not able to do this. I'm grateful for Harvey to accommodating that as well. So as you can see, this is Datadog State of AI Engineering, and I sort of look at it because I just want to understand in real world what things are doing. You can see that it is insane. Gemini and Anthropic, and especially Anthropic, is getting significant acceleration in adoption. People are using more than one model, and then basically creating their own sausage with different meat. And then you can see that adoption of models in organizations is using extremely fast. Intentionally, however, GPT is losing ground. Everyone else is lose uptick. I don't know what your thoughts are on this. We are really waiting for GPT 5.5, and presumably that will be much better. Everyone is using LLM frameworks, and then especially in organizations, we are seeing an improvement and significant uptake. So as you can see, things are adjusting, as we could see, significantly, and people are using token usage per request according to organizations also increasing, which basically tells you that it's not just the model use, it's actually per model how much usage is there. So it is interesting to see all of these updates going forward. I have some updates about the state of digital health. We're going to discuss this next week, but I want to give you some articles that you should read. Real world behavior of patient using an integrated diagnostic decision support system. Now, this was very interesting to me because, first of all, it's a very niche subject. It is not clinical decision support in terms of, diagnostic decision support in terms of, but how the patient would behave. And that was actually, I think it is very important that you guys read that. It's because AI supported symptom assessment and follow up services, which basically becomes a digital front door. And I believe Ed is on his way, but this would have been an amazing thing that we could see. And then zero shot biomedical entity. So sorry to go back. I apologize. What I'm saying is that this is going to be front and off center of future of basically what we call digital front door. And telemedicine services will be first to adopt. But again, I think this will be the most important use of AI, because it doesn't only change diagnostic services, but patients' behavior and everything. Biomedical entity recognition, we have been using BioBird, CliniBird, etc. These are very fast, Roberta, all of these. But if you actually combine them with large language enhanced few shot and zero shot learning, you would see increase in accuracy, recall, and F1 scores, outperforming baseline methods. So very good read. I haven't tried it yet, but I will try this weekend. Cross-section of evaluation of medical disinformation and safeguards. And you can see that apparently they did multiple trials, Copilot, Meta AI, Grok, Gemini, substantial vulnerabilities. So do not start, producing medical information just yet. End-to-end pipeline to heart failure diagnosis with clinical notes using SonoMed City. And this is actually very important that we're seeing that as we go along in the process, that when you actually have access to chart, and then I don't know if anyone knows, SonoMed City is essentially a concept terminology. And it takes everything, RX norm, all of that, combines them, and then basically makes it available for anyone to basically generate medical concepts through LLM. And that concepts mapping can help you with diagnosis and detection. And you're going to see that with clinical notes, you can actually automate heart failure with significant F1 score of 65.3 is not that bad, but abbreviation disambiguation accuracy increases significantly. And of course, you can do much more, accuracy depending on how much data you get. So honestly, they use this bedbird first. I wouldn't, but anyways, how you chain it up, I think you can definitely go even higher on F1 score. So excellent read. Biomarkers associated with future suicide rate can have predictive performance in psychiatry. And if you can see, they use the word ML, machine learning. But then this is interesting that I think, Harvey, I don't know what your thoughts are, but I suppose at some point in time when your governance is out soon, we're going to see that there are going to be machine learning biomarkers that will be used in clinical trials. This was very interesting use of ML biomarker. I don't know if it's in the abstract, but it's definitely in the full, read. If you actually go ahead and read this, very interesting concept of ML as a biomarker, and we are going to look at, someone trademarking it, IPing it, and everything. So, interesting ways to move forward. This was very odd. Dozens of AI disease prediction models were trained on dubious data. And that is, again, we talked about it with SegMed. I think data is a very big pipeline problem for still, and they did a comprehensive research on it, and realized that, some of the data is actually really crappy and garbage in, garbage out. Very important read. You should look at it. Kaggle has been amazing to produce and give real high quality data, which is always a bottleneck. But there are ways to decrease dubious data. We actually had to go through multiple iterations, multiple labeling. It was insane, a hard problem to solve for ourselves to have a high quality labeled data. So this is digital navigator. So this is the second one. And this is actually even better than the last study. And you're going to see that telemedicine, virtual care, and everything are going to basically, evaluations of digital navigators is going to be very important. And you're going to see AI based. We actually did get a Save Life AI, actually a customization request with paid request, which is great. And they wanted literally to get this done, which directly connects to their metrics in terms of clinical evaluations and financial health. Development and prospect shows evaluation of a domain specific. This is interesting to me because of the neurological assessment. Blinded indicated that models recommendation for examination were significantly more comprehensive, accurate, and clinically able than those of physicians. Do you see that, Harvey? It's insane.
It's crazy.
I know, man. I mean, I don't know what we're going to do here. This is getting into. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and let our Harvey Castro teach us about, number one, digital twin. And then we're going to talk about digital twin in healthcare. And I don't know if you're going to share your screen or not, but let me just unshare my screen. So
no, we just have a conversation and then
that's fine. No worries. I'm actually going to, while you're doing it, I tried to learn this. It is, again, a harder concept. So for our audience, let's just first step back and remind them what the word digital twin means. And then we're going to talk about healthcare, and then we're going to talk about its applications.
Yeah, so big picture, look at it this way. Literally, it's kind of interesting. We're following NASA and watching what the government's doing. Well, back in the day, NASA was having trouble in space, and they didn't know how to fix the problem. And they literally had to create a mirror image of what was going on in space so that they could simulate and see how to fix it. Well, that concept was eventually what became a digital twin. And it's actually all around us, and we don't really realize. A couple of years ago, I spoke at the Consumer Electronics Show, and that was the main theme, was the digital twin. I spoke with Siemens, and basically what they were doing is creating factory digital twins. So if you wanted to start a factory, they would go through and be like, okay, here's what that factory looks like. Here's the process. Here's the workflow and all the components of how that machine would be working and talking and friction points. That way, when they would develop it, they knew what they were developing down to the nanosecond, down to the centimeter, the whole thing. Now, let's extrapolate that down to healthcare. What does that mean in healthcare? Well, again, different flavors depending on the use cases. And so personally, I've been really, really excited because, and we'll go through it.
And before you
Uh,
go into Harvey, one more thing. So digital
yeah.
twin, I understand, right? So for example, I'm designing a car, but then I design it on a computer simulation as a digital twin, put it in a tunnel, which is, also digital, checks its aerodynamics, same thing what they did at NASA. I mean, to be honest with you, what we do in medicine is also, look at these surgical training and everything is essentially twinning us to make sure that we go through this outside of healthcare, because in healthcare we talk about digital twins basically for a human being. We talk about it as a data, and we're going to talk more about it. But have you had any other examples of non-mechanical digital twins outside of healthcare industry?
Uh, outside of the healthcare industry, what else have I seen?
Hmm.
Obviously we've seen airplanes, right? That's a simple one. We've seen how they
Correct.
would act with airfare, with the air resistance and the different models. And
Correct.
yesterday, actually, this is kind of offside my ADHD. Yesterday, I was at a space conference, and it was really cool because I had never thought of it. The designer said, "Hey, we build airplanes for everyone, but in the military, we build them differently. We built them to win a war." Totally different way of designing. And I thought, oh my gosh, I never even thought of that. In my head, I was like, plane is a plane.
So yeah, one of the that's where I wanted to before you talk about healthcare, I want people to understand that how it is so different. We talk about digital twins from designing this tool to this table to everything simulation wise, and not to mention the whole AI robotics, which is we're doing, gives you very small data set now that it generates simulated data set, which is then converted into a digital twin and then converted into new AI robotics. So literally, they can figure out how to pick things up in a factory and everything. So this is getting real big sort of steam. And honestly, I mean, it has massive, massive global implications because production pipelines are not going to look like what it looks like today. It's insane. I mean, there's a whole protectionism globally going on. And one of the reasons is that. Now, healthcare is different. And I just want to classify that because when you're doing digital twins outside of healthcare, you're mainly talking about mechanical things. And then in healthcare, go ahead, Harvey. Sorry.
No, no. So in healthcare, like you said, it's an interesting being, and I know this sounds a little philosophical, but it really is all about that human plus AI concept that I always talk about. How is Junaid able to do things? Well, if you think about it, he's in that world. He sees it every day. He feels it. So obviously his company that he's created is around that. Me being an emergency room doctor, I see the world in emergencies or now or then, like fast thinking and slow thinking. But it's really fast thinking is I have to go, go, go. And so because of that, I'm creating an AI that reflects that. And I know that's a little deep, but let me explain the difference. I started playing around with my own personal digital twin.
Hmm.
And as an ER doctor, I thought, what does that even mean? I thought, well, I see people dying in front of me. And I thought if I could leverage AI to give me predictive analytics to tell me before the incident happens, then I have something. And that's literally my personal version of the digital twin that I'm creating more predictive analytics, more looking at data. How can I change it? As opposed to if Janae made it, he would look at it a little differently and he'd be skewed to his personality.
Correct. Before we actually in predictive analytics only was pure statistical. But now we have hybrid mechanics and ML surrogates that he just described beautifully in simple terms as I'm doing it stupidly. But anyways, what I'm saying is that the idea is that the digital twin provides us with way more just predictive analytics, but in a way that is continuous. And this is essentially what Harvey was saying, that we have dynamic counterfactual simulation as well, where we can actually say that Junaid Kalia is a 40-year-old Indian descent. If we have access to other digital twins as well, we can do predictive analytics at a massive level as well, basically doing counterfactual as well. So what excites you most about digital twin technology in healthcare? That's number one. What is the top three applications that you think are going to change the way we function?
Yeah, that's a good one. I'm really excited, and it's really more of a category. I'm really, and I guess breaks it down, but from a big category, I'm excited about predictive analytics.
Mhm.
From that concept, specifically to Janae, what he's asking, I'm really excited about how can I create a digital twin that gives me predictive analytics of, let's just say, Harvey. And then taking it to the next level, I'm really, and these are all things that are coming, or some of it's already here, is now that I know what Harvey looks like, then if, let's say, you and I are taking the same medication, how can we change that medicine to personalize it for me, for my genetics, for my weight, for my age, for my way of metabolizing things? That to me is going to be the difference, because now we're getting personalized care because of that digital twin. All right, let's see. We got a question. How do we address the key challenge like data privacy and implementation costs? Awesome question, Kathy. And honestly, here's how I see it. Obviously, I don't want to say I live in the future. I'm blessed in that I'm leveraging these tools. And so I literally have my own computer that is locked down, that it's in its own cloud, that is in this house, secured, and I'm able to put all my genetics, my wearables, my electronic records. And so as far as the privacy, no, it's not on ChatGPT server, it's not on Janae's server, it's on my own personal server, and I have it locked. And then as far as implementation costs, yes, I'm an N of one. And so, yes, I'm spending the money. But for me, this is the way I see it. I am fine tuning it, fixing it, creating it, and seeing how can I leverage this technology for everybody so that those implementation costs goes down, so that the privacy is there. Uh, I know I'm going a little off in a tangent, but I'll explain why. This is one of many reasons why I'm working for Phantom Space, because of what you just said. My vision is, can we create a digital twin and then leverage the sky, leverage the data centers, so it processes that information, comes back to me, or let's say you on your phone, and then through blockchain technology is going back and forth, leveraging that information. That to me is gold, and it will basically address all of those things, lower the cost and keep the price.
Absolutely perfect. Would we understand? So now going back to this, so I see digital twin in healthcare is number one, what you just described for personal wellness. Personal wellness means that you're not only using your Apple Watch, sleep device, etc., going with essentially with your health data, and then giving you predictive analytics for and also recommendations hopefully to improve your health overall, which is very important. And we're going to talk about when are we going to see this in people's hand. Actually, are we seeing it now or not? Then the second biggest one thing comes in is basically that while I'm actually inside a hospital, I have choices. I already have 18 epilepsy medications that I can, define and give. And then if I had a digital twin, I can decide which medicine is going to work perfectly for that particular patient. And then we take it one level ahead, which is the level 3, in which I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to try simulate with what medication, what dose, and then personalize the complete, medication profile with patient's habits, because now I know that the patient sleeps at 1 in the morning, but the other patient sleeps at 8 p.m. And then there's a farmer who wakes up at 4 in the morning, because then, epilepsy, as you know, can be triggered by lack of sleep, all of those things. And if there's a lack of sleep, there can be an auto alert saying that, you know what, take an extra pill because you were drinking too much last night. So what I'm saying is that, so we have level 1, level 2, and level 3 in terms of healthcare. Now tell me, what is the current status of level 1? Do you think it is with announcements from Perplexity, Claude? Are we there, or are we not there? And then the second thing is, of course, when do we get to level 2? And then in your in your mind, when will we get to level 3?
So that's a good one. Pause for a second to think about that one.
Always
You
hard questions, Harvey. Always hard questions.
always. You see, to me, it's quite interesting. Our rate limiting step is ourselves, right? Our imagination is there, our technology is exponential, but the culture is not. I talk about this all the time, and I do want to mention it. So there's something called Martech's law. Here's the skinny.
Mhm.
AI, algorithmic. It's going like a hockey stick, straight up. You and I, where we work for, it's more of a logarithmic change and it's slow. The bigger the gap becomes, the more disruption. The reason I'm going over this is because this digital twin question answers that question. It's because of that. If I am in Singapore, if I'm in the UAE, where they're looking at digital twins, where they're creating the framework to make this successful, then implementation is going to happen way quicker. And is it going to be here in the United States? I hate to say it's not going to be as quick. It's not going to happen at a national stage for everyone, but the other countries will get it soon. And so my point is, when will it happen here in the United States? We'll see different flavors. We'll see people like me that are like, oh, hey, let's create this. I'm a doctor. I have AI. Let's see how we can implement this. But for the rest of the world, it's going to take individuals like myself that are going to be like, how can we create this for the country? How can we get through the privacies? How can we make sure that this is all done correctly? I'm not saying get through to get through, but to do it right. And so that's the slippery slope. Like, how are we going to get it? How are we going to do it? But I do have one quick prediction. We will, in my opinion, see other countries doing this, create FOMO here in the United States, call our congressman, call our president and say, hey, why don't we have it? And we're going to see a huge shift all of a sudden here in the States. So, time wise, I don't know, but I see that in the next few years, we're going to be moving quickly.
I totally agree with you. Actually, if you really follow ONC, which is Office of National Council, that basically do EHR sort of regulation, they have actually been pushing it. As a matter of fact, in the last Trump, we had a huge Epic and Trump battle, which basically ended up opening up access to data. And we are seeing that with TEFCA, QHIN, state level. Data silos are definitely going down. Um, and there's, of course, data privacy risk and cybersecurity risk, which is unfortunately getting even uh, worse. And I think I'm going to stay today with, because we're going to have a whole session, because Harvey and me are working on governance, extremely important. I think it is important for us to understand this, data privacy with blockchain. And more importantly, it also opens up a significant opportunity of tokenization of work and therefore effort, and then finally going through creating what we call true value-based healthcare. Now, I talked about these three processes, and we're going to see, as you suggested, that us number one is already being implemented. It's going to mature next year. Number two is going to come right after, and then the once we do this. By the way, Harvey, I have to take you to one of the labs here that is doing this. Was doing personalized cancer treatment and everything with RNA and all of that. By the way, here in Dallas, so remind me, I'll go and give you a tour of that lab, which we are also presenting to go through them. So we are seeing that progress, and I think AI is going to really change and improve the speed of it, not development and production and moving forward. I understand data is the biggest issue. There's a highest risk of cybersecurity in this. What is other challenges that you see in US versus the rest of the world that we need to address today? For example, if I pick up my phone to a congressman and bug him, what do you think I should bug him for?
We Oh, that's a good one, man. You always have some really deep questions. You need to like cheat and send me some of these questions, buddies, ahead of time. I'm joking. What would I ask our congressman? I truly think it's all kind of like a marriage, right? It's all about that foundation, make sure everything is correct. So with that said, what would I tell my congressman? Then going back to that analogy of the foundation, we need to make sure that we have the infrastructure, that we have the data centers, that we have the energy, that we can drive the cost down, because if the cost is too high, it's not going to happen for the masses, right? That's one of my my I don't know, my soapboxes right now is how can we lower healthcare costs leveraging AI to help the future? And that is it. So can we lower the cost of the infrastructure? Can we have the data centers? Can we have more open, like llama models, open models where we're able to leverage them so we're not having to pay as much in tokens? Can we create more on-device processing like the iPhone that are coming out, and more of those things so that we can leverage, so we can bring the cost down? Those were the things that I would be pushing my congressman. And by the way, buddy, in I don't know, let's say 8 years, my goal is to run for one term in Congress though. So just one time, and then after that, I don't
We
want
are going to be
to.
very excited. You're going to have full support, and then we're going to basically do this for you. And I hope that we have forward-looking congressmen like you that understand this, because it is also, as as you always suggest, cultural shift, and that comes from leadership explaining to everyone that how important it is. And I'm just going to be honest with you. I mean, the way that I'm looking at LLMs in the future is what you exactly described. It is like a meter that I'm paying for electricity. It's going to be tokens, period. And I'm going to be using tokens. And the question is where the tokens are going to come from. Right now, Chinese tokens are 1/10 of the cost. So if I have some data that is cleansed properly and everything, and there's 3 times scrubbing, first of all, I never sent to China. But there are other kinds of data that, just extraction and all of that. I use Chinese tokens. I'm just going to be honest with you. It's just 1/10 of the price. I mean, you're an investor in the company. You're going to ask me, why are you spending this much on, you know? So we really, really, really need to bring the overall token economy and it's going to be metered. And I'm just going to be honest with you, at some point in time, you're going to be buying tokens like you're buying water and electricity. Just so it is insane that how things are moving. Just a reminder for everyone, I actually was able to, unfortunately, decrease 50% of my workforce because I was able to automate nearly 50% of my company. Took me 1.5 months to plan it and everything, but at the end of the day, it is the new reality of things. So, long story short, I totally agree with you that you need to talk to your congressman, understand that this is great. We live in Texas, so we are blessed in terms of that. We have access to free, extra energy because some of the oils is getting out, and some of the natural gas is putting out, and everything. So gas is cheap. There is, interestingly, Harvey, enough water in Texas. I didn't realize that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then that's why I realized, look, why would you choose Texas for Stargate? Well, why not San Francisco? And then I realized that Texas is relatively blessed. And just a reminder, people forget about Dallas, that Bell, which was essentially AT&T before AT&T, Bell converted to AT&T, was the largest telecom company at some point in time on the planet, had its headquarters in Dallas. So people forget that all the major fibers always go through Dallas. So there's one thing to talk about, being in New York and at the level, but interestingly, not Houston, which is actually it all goes through Dallas. So we have a lot of fiber connections that people go through. Going up, I'm sorry, I went through my ADHD, and I love these conversations with you so that people understand that how we think in terms of global impact, local impact, state level impact, and everything. Going back to digital twins, and we talked about the cybersecurity risk. We talked about the levels of autonomy it's gonna create, and then of course going through this. Now, in the next 10 minutes, if I use that, by the way, I also think need to know if the traffic bandwidth constraints from unexpected surge with high acuity traffic would be prioritized. So it's a very quite good question. So let me rephrase the question in a way that I normally do. There's what we call high stakes AI. What does that mean is that there are two big: medicine and military. And medicine and military are considered what we call high stakes AI. And the reason behind it is, of course, that we need to get it right, of course, and then more importantly, we need to have significant reliability. And given, as I showed you in the AI engineering substack, that we're going to see that a significant amount of surge is requiring. Given the global outlook as well, we are living in a global world, so we need to know that chips from Taiwan are coming. How are we going to have chips coming? By the way, just again, Sherman, Texas, north of Dallas, is they're building. Texas Instruments is building a whole big chip factory as well. But anyways, going back to this, what are your predictions that a person can reliably use tokens for healthcare? And do you think that this surge and everything is going to improve overall, Harvey, or do we really need to push in this regard?
No, I do see things going to the edge, meaning using all these AI tokens. Eventually, a lot of the uses is going to be on your phone, so you won't need to pay OpenAI certain things because it'll be running here. Taking that analogy, then I see that same concept happening where there'll be many AIs happening in the office, where the doctor's not having to pay OpenAI. It's going to be in the local servers creating, because the models, like, they don't need the limousine. A Ford or a bicycle may do the trick for what we're doing. And so I see that trend happening. So that's I really do see that.
I forgot to give you an update. Gemma 4 got released.
Yeah,
It has
I have it. I have it on my
yeah,
computer.
and you can see that there are 6 flavors, and one of them is actually now running on my phone. So you're so right, on target as usual. And I completely sometimes forgot to give updates that you are going to see basically, overnight, quote unquote, large foundation models working to summarize it and everything, and then it is served on your local machine, etc. And there are so many ways to cut the overall pipeline in a way that I agree. So you see a future where reliable tokens will be available through a mechanism of edge, cloud, space, all of that, in a way that we can see this. That's great. And I agree with you 100% on that. Now, the second thing is that once the reliability is there, do you really think, and that's one of the things that I actually say, let's say you're a startup. Again, you want to develop a startup, Harvey, and then I'm going to give you a pushback. People are saying AI is a hoax, AI is just super hype, AI is not really going to bring true economic gains. Forget about all of that. But do you really think, given that you are using it personally as well, do you really think that AI in healthcare will bring true healthcare outcomes that are going to be better than what we're seeing?
Oh my gosh, day and night. I really want.
Day
I'll
and
drop.
night.
Yeah, I'll drop my link, or anyone out there, just go on YouTube, type Harvey Castro TEDx. There are 5 TEDx talks, and I really want you to just download them, listen to them over time, and you'll see all the concepts that I came up with. And some of this stuff is like almost 2 years old that I said, and basically my point is this: if we could do one single thing, do one predictive analytic, we can change the future. Let me give you a quick example. Unfortunately, my dad died in his early 50s of a heart attack. Long story short, here's the point. He had a heart attack, no warning signs, no predictive analytics. Sorry about the background noise. When I finish, I'll go turn it off. But here's the skinny. My mom is alive and she had cancer. She had ultrasound herself, found a nodule. Long story short, she was able to get chemo, radiation. She's alive. What is the difference? My mom, let's call it, had predictive analytics because she caught it early. My dad didn't. My dad's no longer here. My mom, 20 years after that cancer, she's still here. So with that principle, can we leverage AI to lower the cost and to save lives? I need to turn off that alarm. I'll be back. Keep going.
No worries. And it's 20 years. I mean, if you look at human history of 100,000 years, you're going to see that it's insane. It is kind of totally insane, the amount of improvement, amount of access it is providing, this democratization of knowledge, democratization of data, and finally what we call democratization and demonetization of intelligence. We are going to see significant, massive gains. And lastly, I mean, Harvey, let's just assume that you are Elon Musk right now and you have access to to technology that's going to release in 3 years and maybe not release because of whatever that reason may be. Do you think that we are already at the precipice because we see mythos from Opus that they're, I mean, it's a marketing stunt. But, anyways, what I'm saying is that do you really think that these level of technologies already exist? Or are they too far in the future to provide this level 3 personalized medicine in the at all. So the idea is that how far do you think we can push, and what would be the overall impact on human resources? Just talking about US.
Yeah. So the number one question, do we have this stuff? Yeah. Do they have the next iPhone or the next 2, 3 generations? Yeah, they have them. Is it release? No, unfortunately. Is it economics? Is it technology? Is it culture? What's holding it back? So I do think the answer is the information's there, the technology there. If I was Elon Musk, uh, it's a catch-22, right? Because some things, this sounds weird, we're not ready. When ChatGPT released what they
Yeah.
released, was the world ready for all the stuff they were thinking and creating and had in their vaults? No. Oh, the reason it was successful is because it was slow. It was, to go back to my earlier statement, Martek's law. It was logarithmic, but they were just pushing it because they knew if they showed this, it's not going to happen. A derivative of that statement is startups call me. They're like, "Hey, Harvey, how do I start this at the hospital?" I'm like, "Dude, do not show them this widget. Do not show them this other widget because this they can accept culturally. If you show them this, you're going to scare them away. You're not going to get that deal." And so with that analogy, it's the same. Before we move on, I just saw this comment and I really want to highlight it. It's from Kathy Hart. Oh my God, you made me teary. It says, "I dedicate my book, Digital Revolution for the Modern Nurse, AI Tools for Transforming Patient Care, to Dr. Harvey Castro. I completed your course and you illuminated a path I had not envisioned for myself. So thank you." So Kathy, thank you so much. You're the sweetest. I sincerely appreciate that. That to me is literally made my month because at the end of the day, it's about helping others and I'm excited. So pass that on to others, and I'm sure you are in your country. And if you can, send me a link on LinkedIn or whatever, and I'll get the book and love to read it. So thank you so much. Appreciate it.
I would love
Anyway,
to read that. So one last question of the day, and then we're gonna go ahead and then go from there. Uh, what is personalization, genetics, epigenetics, and then the true traction? So now, just step back for the audience, Harvey, and make them explain where this genetics and epigenetics comes in. I'll give you some of my theories,
yeah,
and
this
then
will be
we
fun.
can go from
Let's get out of
there.
here. So I'm looking at it right there. I literally, I'm not suggesting this. This is not medical advice. I got to put the disclaimer. This is me as a doctor self-treating myself, which you technically shouldn't, but I am. So I saw some studies about metformin being able to help you with aging, and I put myself on it for a couple of years now, and I see the difference. I can tell the difference. I'm being told the difference. And the reason I'm sharing it is because going to this question, genetics, epigenetics, how can we do things? I am literally taking advantage of this information so that for my own health. These wearables, I know I look like a crazy man. I got like all these freaking wearables on, but I have it because I'm collecting data, and then that data is telling me. And I have now linked it to my iPhone. And so now I get daily reports, texts. And in fact, I took it to the next level. I actually get podcasts, mini podcasts. So this morning, it's kind of geeky, but I literally got a text. I hit play. I hit play basically. And then the text was like, "Good morning, Harvey. Here's your sleep." And it told me how I slept, what I didn't sleep. And then it literally said, "Hey, you're about to be on a plane. You're going to have a really stressful day based on your sleep, based on your stress, based on your parameters, your data that I was looking at yesterday. You need to chill today." And then it gave me some breathing exercise, and it went through like a couple minute exercise. And then I thought, this is really cool. So my goal now is I'm going to commercialize that, because not for the money part, just because I'm thinking this is what we need, because it goes back to predictive analytics. Now my AI is telling me, hey, Harvey, if you don't take care of yourself, XYZ is about to happen. So let's take a moment and let's cut that trend so that you're not going downhill. Isn't that crazy?
It's insane, right? I mean, I'm going to take it one step further. We are now officially ordering genetic tests, especially for kids when we're starting medications for seizures, because we now need to know that there's 1 in 10,000 chance that something bad can happen. But more importantly, we now know that some medications work in better genetics and epigenetic situation. We're already doing it. It is part and parcel of today. But what I'm saying is that in future, you're gonna have one test. You're gonna have access to this. You will be able to share through your digital twin to your provider, and then at the at the at the point of care, you will be able to adjust all of this. I just want to add one more slide so that people understand what it means to be doing. I'm sorry, where did my
I'm
screen
going to
go?
fix the light. And then I do want to highlight the digital twin that I put in the chat. Basically, I do want to show that, and we'll pull it up when you're done. But the skinny is, people are like, hey, Harvey, I want to talk to you. And I used to have it on my website for a couple of years, and I took it off, and then I made another one. But basically, I created a RAG model. What all it is my talks, my books, whatever interviews I've had, and I put it into a database. And then I put that website that I just linked, and we can show it. There it is, harvey.defiai.com. But the skinny is, you can call me. I actually created a hotline. So if you scroll there, there's an actual phone number there. And then you can text me on your phone, or you can go on the website, ask me a question. It's a little geeky, and then it'll process.
Oh, wow.
It's using my clone voice. Then it'll talk to you from my clone voice. And then it'll generate a video. And then it takes a bit. 5 minutes later, then that image that you see there becomes animated. And I start moving my head. I start speaking. It's my clone voice, and it's answering the question you just had. Again, this isn't for this fluid conversation going back and forth, but I just wanted to show a proof of concept, and I was able to
Amazing.
by myself.
This is truly amazing. And think about it. You can actually put this into all your data connected with this, and then Harvey is going to tell you every morning, which is odd. I don't want Harvey in my phone, but it is what it is, the world we're going to live in. That's what he's trying to show you, that this is how the future lives. And then again, the mechanism of AI generated virtual control arms. And think about it, that not only for me personally, I can actually do virtual, one or two even digital twins, stack them onto one another, and then basically create this, which again is just the last question of the thing. How are we gonna regulate this? Because this is, I'm gonna be honest with you, this is literally confusing to me, Harvey. I mean, are we gonna be able to regulate this?
No, it's gonna be tough, right? Because people like me will be able to, or you guys eventually, the technology and the how-to will get so simple that you'll be able to do it yourself. So we'll be able to have our own digital twins. Then it's going to be weird, right? Because there are non-physicians out there. I get away with murder in a way because I'm like, oh wait, this is wrong, this is correct. Oh wait, let me prompt it this way, let me fix it. But that's the part that the regulation needs to be considered, because if someone is creating these healthcare digital twin and does it wrong and hurts themselves, or it's going to be an issue. Interesting, right? Real interesting.
So let me give you this. 1929 or something, I think, that we made sure that fluoride is in the waters. I don't know if everyone knows that fluoride is pumped into the waters, FYI, which is amazing. And then at that time, government mandated it, and they still have fluoride in the waters. And in this day and age, when Harvey keeps talking about culture, if I were to say, metformin really is amazing, and let's say, I mean, not that I own anything IP or anything, but let's just say I want to put it in the water, it will never pass, right? I mean, there's just stupid to see that. Not to mention, again, fluoride was done at some point in time. So, Harvey, if we talked about regulation, this is honestly the last question of the day. How your theme about culture is going to impact regulation moving forward? And then at some point in time, people now also have the ability to fly to India, Turkey, Mexico to get shit done, maybe cheaper anyways. So we need to figure out Because at the end of the day, I'm just going to be honest with you, I can release like 90 models today. And the only thing stopping me is FDA. And I'm not so sure at this point in time that they should. Just being honest. I mean, it was a different time, and I always talk about data and all of that. But I mean, I'm not saying that I should release it in a production environment, but I should be able to release it. Which we're doing IRB again, a big process. All of this. At the end of the day, you're using Cloud Code on your personal health information, right? So how do we have this matrix of regulation, self autonomy, increase? It's insane the level of increased speed of development come together, especially now bring it to the international uh, comparison as well.
Yeah. I take another deep breath. You always make me think, but that's going to be a tough one, right? Because on one side, we want, like you said, you have all these models that's helping humanity, and we want those things. But at the same time, like any tool, if it's used wrong, then people may die from it. So how do we find that balance? And unfortunately, sometimes it's regulation to bring that balance to the table. You and I have the heart of a doctor, and so we want to see these things come through. But unfortunately, there's other players out there that will use some of this technology for bad. And if you have that digital twin, think about the power of that. If somebody had a hold of all of my information, they literally could. And we know this is already going on, but they can manipulate me to another level.
Oh
Put
yeah.
me Put me into a room with the right music, the right tones, the right colors, the right wording, everything, where I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like me. And in reality, they don't. They just manipulated my digital twin because they knew how it's going to react, how it's going to think, how it's going to decide. This is really, really powerful. And so that kind of worries me. And then the other part of this is, let's be frank, if my digital twin says, yeah, he's gonna bite the bullet here, he's gonna die here in about 5 years, my life insurance, my health insurance, who's to say that all of a sudden I don't start getting denied or certain things start changing because of my digital twin? I don't know that this is going on because it's being manipulated against me. So things to think about. And that's where we need a regulation to protect us. Before we end on a bad note, or sad note, go to my website real quick. I got to show you this geekiness. Go to my website, it's harveycastromd.com, show it, Janae. And then on the top right corner, I want to show you, because this is kind of cool. This is something I literally released yesterday, and you guys will love it because this concept is something we need to have. So basically, when you go to my website, at the top, it'll show you, it's like one of my books, hit the pivot or perish, hit that. And what that is I have a whole book series that I released, but here's the part that I'm excited to share. This will be the first public announcement, is you buy the book, and you don't have to, but when you get the book, moving forward, this is the table of contents. And then every chapter in my book now goes online, finds the latest research, and then it scrapes the web, and then it gives you the latest information for this. And then you can go back and forth. And then for you guys that have AI, at the bottom, it has prompts. You can copy the prompt, paste it. And so if you're Janae and you're XYZ physician, then you can take that prompt, say, I'm this physician, and then it'll give you that output. And then I made the whole book that way. And moving forward, I'm going to start doing this for all my books. And I thought, this is kind of cool. This is just different. And then it's evergreen, right? Because you get the knowledge, but then now my AI on the website is going to be updating the latest information.
This is insane, man. I mean, and that's what I'm really trying to figure out. Remember when we used to write books like 10 years ago, right? It's freaking research paper. We had to go physically inside a library and get asthma attacks because, and it is really getting truly, I mean, astonishingly different. I mean, it is, I don't know, it is a little scary at times. But it is what we think is going to be the best of times as well. If we make good choices, as he suggested, and then implement it in a cyber secure, privacy preserving way. Thank you, everyone, for joining. See you next time. I really appreciate it. We're going to have some of these educational sessions coming too. We just want to make sure that everyone understands the power of AI. Use it in a good way. Thank you.